Hello, may I have your name, please?
My name is Nicole Bernice Tyndale Thomas.
Excellent. Can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from New York City.
Okay. Excellent. Could you tell me a little bit about your military service?
Well, I went into the military 1977, February of that year. And I went in, I was probably at the high end of ages to go in. I think I was about such a long time ago, around 27, 28. Usually people go in earlier than that. So I went in and I went in as a first lieutenant because of my education. Um, I went in, actually, I had my mind set on being able to do nursing on on the airplane hospital airplane. That's what attracted me to the Air Force. Because I did go when was looking around I did go to the Navy office, and they weren't too friendly. They sort of stuck me in a room with a video. They weren't talking to me. And I sat there for a while and I said, forget this. And I just got up and left. They never even called me to say, why'd you leave? So obviously they wasn't too interested in me getting into the Navy. So, sorry. For that reason, I winded up at the Air Force office. And, they were very exuberant about the Air Force and da 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 da, telling me everything. They just embraced me enough to get me in. So when they told me about this hospital plane, because I was an ICU nurse, and when they said about the hospital plane, that was right up my alley. I like action, lights, camera. I don't like to just sit down and do paperwork. So I went through the basic training down at Wichita Falls, Texas. I'll never forget being raised in New York. I don't think I've ever been that hot in all my life uh, as I was when I was in Texas. And also, I'm the only child, so I was never away from home except to go to nursing school, to go to college. So going it's into the military was a big deal for me to leave my mom, uh, for that long period of time. And I got there and we went through the basic training, and all I wanted to do was get to the part where I get to go to the training for to be on that hospital plane. But I had to, learn all the basic stuff first, like how do you tell the difference between a colonel and a lieutenant colonel and a captain, you know. So I did that. During my orientation, they did physicals, et cetera, and they hit me with the news that I had sickle cell trait, which nobody ever told me that before. And so I said, yeah, and so what does that mean? I have the trait, I don't have the disease. Well, that sort of strikes your chance of going to flight school to work on the hospital plane. And I went, oh, wait. That's the only reason I came into the military, is to work on that plane. So just let me out. And it wasn't as easy as that. It wasn't like, okay, you're going to send you home tomorrow. It was, you signed up in here for 4 years and your butt's going to stay right here. I'm like, oh, hell no. I got to get out of here. So that started my military career. I started out being angry and depressed and just fighting everything that I could fight to get myself out of the military. Um, and then I got stationed because I was military dumb. I'm going to say military dumb. The year that I went in, the recruiter that I had said that this was the first time they were offering an overseas assignment as a first assignment going in, and asked me if I wanted to go to the Philippines. Well, when he said the Philippines, mind you, only child, never been away from home. I picked Washington, D.C. as a first choice because it's like 3 hours from home. And he said the Philippines, he might as well tell me I was going to be sent to another world. I said, I can't go to no Philippines. I can't leave my mother and go to no Philippines. When will my mother see me? When will I be able to? I can't just drive home for the weekend. So needless to say, I did not, being military dumb, did I know after I got in the military, after I got to Andrews, is when I found out that that was a choice assignment. That people, that I would have loved the Philippines. So it's too late for that. So they tried to appease me by assigning me to the 10th ASF. That's the unit that the hospital plane lands, and the nurse from my unit go out to the plane and receive the patients and to get the report from the nurse that's delivering the patient. So they felt that that was sort of to appease me. At least I got to go on the plane, and it didn't. That didn't work. Anyway, but I wound up being on that 10th ASF and taking care of the veterans that came from off the hospital plane. That's where they came to our unit. We stabilized them, and then eventually they get sent to their home unit. You know, if they have to stay in the hospital, then they eventually get sent to where they were from. So I did that for a while, and then they decided, because I was this ICU nurse for 7 years before I came in there, that they would put me in ICU. The last place I wanted to be was the ICU. So there I was again on an assignment that I dreaded getting up in the morning or going to work. And meanwhile, during this time, I'm putting in for early outs. I used the fact that I was an only child, because they have the thing about the only son. So I'm the only daughter, son, period. So why wouldn't it work for me? No, it did not. I said, this is not fair. I mean, if the only son gets a break and can go home, why can't the only daughter? How about the only child? I even got one up on the only son. The only son probably got siblings. There's no more of me, just me. You know, I would seem to, for some reason, I would get in. Trouble just followed me. If it was gonna happen to anybody, it happened to Bernice. Most people call me Bernice or B. First day on Andrews Air Force Base, drove in, been on the road all from New York, trying to get to base housing so I could get someplace so I could put my bags down, get some rest, got out the car, and passed this other military person, man, older white guy, I'm going to say that, and he says, "Lieutenant!" And I'm walking past, and you know what? I had just come from a basic training. Saying lieutenant hasn't, didn't get into my head yet that was, he was talking to me. It was like, and then lieutenant again. I said, me? He said, "Didn't you forget something?" And I was like, forget something? I don't even know who you are. What do you mean forget something? You don't know, I am Lieutenant Colonel Dottie 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 Dottie. And I said, well, nice to meet you. I'm just trying to go to base housing. He reported me to the head nurse for Andrews Air Force Base. So my first week, I was in trouble. So I spent all that time. I spent the rest of the time in ICU. 3 years going by. Finally, they said I could get out, and I got out maybe some months early, but not like a year early. My last few months, they put me up, would you believe, in another unit that I actually hated. That means not one assignment did I like. or that was interesting to me, that would make me say, I want to be, I want to stay in this military. I loved the military life, loved it. I loved the potential that it had to offer for you to do a lot of things that you could not do as a nurse in civilian nursing, because we were much more respected for our knowledge and for our skills in the military than we were on the outside. We could do things, there are so many things that I could do without a doctor's order in the military that I could never do as a civilian. So they just respected your opinion, and they respected your knowledge base that you had. So you can use it and not have to depend on somebody to tell you that this patient needs an x-ray. When you listen to his lungs, no one has to come and tell you he needs to get an x-ray. You could call the doctor and let him say it. No, you can just call x-ray people and say, this person needs an x-ray. So I loved everything about the military like that. Everything. I loved the social life was wonderful. And it wasn't anything I really didn't. Only thing I had specific career goals that I wanted to meet. And they just were not budging enough to help me meet those career goals. So as a result of that, I only did my time I signed up for. And I'm out. But you know what? Everything is for a reason. Everything. Because now here I am in my latter years and I have health concerns. And had I not been a veteran, I would be who knows where. I wouldn't be getting the care that I'm getting, medical care that I'm getting, and situations that I have had to confront, I wouldn't be getting assistance with. I would be on my own because mom and dad are gone and I'm the only child. So God sort of knew that I was going to need that veteran status in these latter years. And so I'm just so blessed. Every time when I talk about it, I get kind of tearful because it just seems like, you don't know why you go through things for some, and then years down the road, you look back and say, oh, that's why I went through that. It prepared me for right now. That's all I got.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to add? Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was a great